Welcome to the Chief Technology Officer Summit. This is the first one the Growth Publisher puts together. I am Stephen Tijamulia, your Chief Editor of the Growth Publisher, and today I am very excited to hear and for all of us to hear from Rishikesh Kale, CEO of Codature. Rishikesh is a good friend of mine. We've worked together for many years. He has a well-established consulting practice development shop that helps people from strategy, development, building your product from scratch to be able to lend his hand to companies needing more resources. Rishikesh, privileged to have you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and really interesting topic to cover today. We are talking about product-led growth. For those that haven't heard this term before, Rishikesh, would you be able to summarize it for everybody to talk about what is product-led growth, and then what kind of role does Codature play in helping companies with product-led growth?
So there has been software has been sold in a traditional ways for almost 2-3 decades now, and till now the sales was driven by salespeople. Sales teams were running different types of campaigns, and the executives were making the decision how we want to. The decision makers were making the decision that what kind of software they want to purchase or they want to adopt their organization with, which eventually changed to the marketing led growth where companies are running the marketing capital with that marketing campaigns with the advent of online advertisers that started picking up and that started driving the growth for the products or sales for the product. And recently, in the last few years, the product-led growth has been becoming more and more norms for SaaS companies or SaaS product all around the globe. So basically, the product-led growth is that product-led growth is covering a product is covering or driving the growth of sales, and it is helping uh, uh, companies to onboard new customers and to drive the sales through those customers. Uh, we at a Coditude are specialized into building and launching the products into the market. The SaaS-based products that is our specialty. We build them, we launch them into market, and at a later stage, we work with the our customers to iterate over those products to make sure those products are finding their product market fit and growing in terms of number of customers and number of revenue they are generating. So this is what we do at Coditude.
No, thanks for explaining it. Just for people to get a good, clear view, what are some products that that are on the marketplace that have a good brand that are product-led growth products? Like, is there
That
some brands that you look at and say, "Oh, these are really good ones"?
there are some really interesting case studies out there that are utilizing product led growth and have been successfully using it to their advantage. And one of the really interesting example of this is a Slack was one of the early pioneers of using product led growth and then making a benefit out of it to grow to their the levels that they have right now. And they came up with or they adopted all the major aspects of a PLG, right from providing a free version or a freemium pricing model, and then coming to a then making sure that um, they have a shortest possible time to deliver the value. They made sure of that. The onboarding was quick and easy. and they utilize their paywalling the or gatewaying, adding a gate to the features, promoting or prompting users to become a paid customer. So I think that's one of the really good example of a PLG strategy used in the wild. There are many other examples of that nowadays. HubSpot has done really well with the PLG. Google initial version of G Suite, they started with the PLG. Now they have stopped the freemium model. They completely changed it to the paid version. But in early days, they used the freemium model to gain the popularity against Microsoft Exchange and try to become. They got a really good advantage of that. So some other nowadays, if you go out and see, most of the companies are utilizing this strategy. And if you want to be a successful sell the product successfully in the market nowadays, you have to understand what PLG is and how it's going to help us to make sure that our product is easy to sell.
Okay, super exciting. I'm excited about this topic because a lot of our CTOs who are building products out there, they would love to build a product or are building products that could really grow on their own, just like Slack and others, and that would reduce a lot of the marketing expenses, sales expenses, allow for higher growth. So before we dive into your approach, how you educate your clients on it, give me a little background on your background and how did your company, Codature, get into product-led growth? Yeah, how did you get started? What's the background? Why should what made your company know so much about this and find a niche in it? And then we'll go into details on how companies can apply this methodology to their business.
Well, Coditude has a really interesting story behind the inception and its growth and entry into the PLG strategies. We started this company with by identifying a gap into the market where companies. So back in when we started back in 2006, the companies there were not many companies helping customers and companies around the globe to build the product in a modern way and launch them into the market. The traditional approach to the software development was not fit for launching a products which are customer facing B2C products or a B2B product, which are utilizing the powers of cloud, which are utilizing the modern uh, changes or changes done brought to us by innovations that were happening in the early 2000. And at that time we decided to build this company which will help people around the globe to ideate, to come up with the ideas, to build the product and launch those products in a very efficient way into the market, and then to iterate over the features and offering to make sure that those products are growing in the market, customers are giving the feedback, those feedbacks are received, and then those products are adopted as per the requirement. So this was the whole idea of or whole motivation behind the company. uh, this close involvement or a deeper involvement with the product development and growth got us into the product led growth. The traditional model of sales, which is still there on some sort of applications, that is the sales led model, was not working really well for startups who want to move faster, who want to onboard the customers with a less number of, within a less amount of time, less amount of friction, less amount of budget. And that got us got us into PLG. uh, we we found out that if you are going to uh, if you're going to include all these different kind of mechanisms in your product, which is going to help your customers be self-sufficient, in a self-exploration mode, the friction is less to be on board, then it makes it easier for them to actually get the value out of that product, and the retention rates for such a customers are even higher. And that we explored these strategies on different occasions, and every time we found out that this is working well. That's how we started specializing into this particular area, and started working with more and more people to help them with problems they are facing with the help of PLG.
Love it. That's a great background. You, you guys, I know you do really well in this space. To start out, let's talk about what are the initial challenges that companies have when they start out with product-led growth, or if they're trying to do it on their own, and how did you tackle them? What are the biggest challenges you've seen from companies?
So there are few different types of challenges out there. First and most important challenge is to find out a mm, to find out a uh, offering of your product. So whenever we are doing a PLG, our goal is to deliver a value to the customer as early as possible, because your all your marketing campaigns are going to drive the traffic to your website. Your customers are going to get on board, and if they are going to get the value out of your product, then they are going to stick around and they are going to move through the funnel. So that's a really important step, or important offering that we have to figure out our users are going to find valuable. Once we find that offering, we have to make sure that we are simplifying the initial experience of the user to the level that we are it's so smooth that user will move from one step to another step with a minimum amount of friction. If we figure this out, then eventually we will be able to walk the user through different stages of funnel. Ultimately he will become a customer, he will get into some sort of a premium plans and will become a paying customer. So that's the ultimate goal of this whole process. So what I think is that finding such a unique offering that customer will find valuable, where we will be able to give that value to the customer as early as possible during his journey with our product. If we can do that, I think rest of the things will come smooth after that. But this is the challenge that early startup should or early product owners should figure out.
Yeah, and from talking to different CTOs here and those listening and will be listening, a lot of times CTOs and engineers building products um, may focus on the build, on the features, but not so much on the usability and customer experience. How do you ensure, or what best practices do you suggest to CTOs and engineers so that they can focus on usability and customer experience to make sure they can get to a product-led growth strategy? What do you put in place? What do you recommend them to focus on?
So I think definitely a customer user interface and usability has to be as smooth as possible for any product to be successful. But in case of PLG, we have to ensure that we are onboarding our customers in the right way. Uh, the initial information or initial actions they want to take to get that aha moment or the value delivered to them. We have to make sure the onboarding process is taking care of that, and customer is moved from a marketing qualified lead to the activated user as soon as possible. So that's going to be a very critical step when we are going to talk about usability of the product. After that, once that user is activated, once that user is onboarded into the product, with the help of different informative either a product tools or by providing him a cues through the user interface, we should help him get that initial value uh, delivered to him. And every stage, so every stage in the funnel should have a clear path within the product. User should be able to discover feature on their own. There should be a minimum amount of friction. Whenever there is some sort of activity or action needs to be done, there should be a minimum amount of friction user has to go through to actually utilize that feature. And if we see, so if a product owner, any CTO or a product owner is analyzing the user behavior either through the analytics or some kind of other tools they are using to track the user activity, they should figure out such a points where there is a friction, where there is a drop in a user activity, people are initiating the actions and leaving them in midway. I think they that should be the definitely uh, a point of focus, that should be their point of focus, and they should figure out what is happening there and how we can simplify the user interface there, and make sure that user are not dropping at that particular point. So I think these are like few things everybody should be aware of and take care of them to make sure that product is smooth and users are just gliding through the product.
That's great advice. Now, there are two questions that come to mind here that would help the CTO audience and those participating. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them, those listening. But um, team dynamics, what kind of team, from a CTO's perspective, is necessary to, how should they staff it so that they can pay attention to those friction points, so they can act and improve their product and just not build and build and build? What do you suggest for them to do? Like, what kind of resources are needed so that they can be able to, move
So I
fast
think
towards a product-led growth framework strategy success?
So I think Stephen, this is a really important aspect of a any product, that what kind of people are going to working on that product and how they are going to interact and at what stage they are going to interact. So I think the sales, the product team, the sales team, the customer success team, they have to work together to make sure that different aspects of the journey in any product's life cycle are considered at each stage or while making a decision. So, for example, if the sales team is going to be involved about into a early stage of a product development, because they have the understanding of what should be the pricing model, what should be the how the sales is going to happen at a later phase. But if they are not involved into that decision making, and if product is built in isolation from those people, then it's going to be a later on you guys are going you will find out that we should have considered this particular aspect of sales at the early stage of the product, and now we have to go and do some rework on that particular thing. So one of the most important thing of the team composition is that to have a people from each of these aspect of a product life cycle involved at least at as early as possible into the product design and product development phases. So I identify three type of team members which are essential. One is a of course the tech team, where the UI UX designers will be there, the technology people will be there. Second type of people are going to be the customer success people, customer success team members. Those people, they understand that how what a customer needs to do to be or what kind of problems customers are going to face whenever they are going to use the product. And then third type of people that are important are the sales team or the marketing team. They know what kind of how they're going to sell that product later on at the phase, and they can help people to they can help product owner to find out that unique offering that their customers are going to like. So it's going to be a team effort by all of these members of the different teams, and I think that's how we should compose our team, and that's how we should involve different types of expertise are at the early phase of the development and design phase.
That's great. And before I get to my second question here, now from a Coditude perspective, I know you provide development services. Do you also help companies round out the team if they're missing resources, or what have you what have you started to introduce to help companies with product-led growth? Is there what kind of resources do you provide in addition to development to help them with that?
So in addition, Coditude's expertise lies into two areas of a product development. One is a the product ideation, development, and user interface design phase, and another one is a growth phase. So we provide and help on the both the phases. One with the uh, actual development of the product, actually designing the product, making sure that it's user friendly, usability is simple, and then later at a growth phase, we help you with a few different types of technologies. One is to make sure that you are running your campaigns in an optimized way by helping you with the integrating the martech tech stack within the product. And then at a second we also help product owners, and at a later phase, growth phase, by analyzing the behavior of the users within the product using analytics and different types of decision uh, data tools to get the insight out of the product usage, and make decisions based on that.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Do you also help out with marketing and client customer support if they need the support services? Is that additional, or do you suggest, or how do they scale that part?
Absolutely, we have those services available with us. Few of the customer support, and there are then technical support services such as L1, L2, L3 supports, where if your product is running in a while, and if it is if you have customers onboarding, you need L1, L2 support. So both type of services are available with Coditude.
Sounds good. Yeah, it looks at you're talking about sales resources, marketing, customer support, testing, usability, development. That's great because I think those are all kind of different resources, but as you're focusing on product-led growth, having that coordination and a one-stop shop is a good one for Coditude. Um, Now, as CTOs are thinking about this, and they may be resource constrained, uh, what is your advice for them? They're trying to balance: do I hire all of them in house or do I outsource? What is core? What should I outsource? In this new 2024, where companies are trying to save money and funding is not so easily available, what do you suggest to them, right? Outsource, in-house, what can how much can I save by outsourcing? What's your thoughts here as they're looking to go into product-led growth?
Well, I think finding a right kind of a resource is a really important step for any organization, for any product, no matter where that resource can come from. And usually, the rule of the market is to go where there is abundant supply, where there is a abundant supply at a reasonable rate. And I think from that point of view, uh, uh, definitely there are multiple options available. You can have some people on board uh, on your team, but that comes with additional overhead. and you can have a technology partner or a development partner working with you who have a abundance resources available to work with you. What I have seen is that usually that it's really hard to hire in a market where there are multiple players struggling or fighting for the top of the talent. So usually it's easier to get into the market where there is a less competition for top of the talent, where you can have easily have an access to the best talent and at a reasonable rates. And also nowadays that so for example markets such as India or Eastern Europe or even some of the Latin American countries, they have really good availability of talent. And um, if mm, there are like some challenges with that comes with this, such as languages. So for example Eastern European countries, they are majority Russian speaking countries, or Latin America is a Spanish speaking. India and some other countries, they are English speaking countries. So based on your language preferences and comfort level of your team, you can get into definitely these markets and get an access to a really good talent.
And when picking outsourcing, especially those starting out, um, uh, where should they in-house what part of development, right? Should what about customer support? What about marketing? What do you suggest as people are embarking this product-led growth strategy and they're just making that decision, right? Would you suggest start outsourcing? Who do you outsource? What's core? Any advice there you have for people?
So, if let's say we want to build a product, usually I'll give an advice to go with somebody who already have an expertise or experience of doing similar kind of thing for, over multiple. Uh, he or she. So whoever is going to build the product, it could be your in-house team, it could be an outsource partner. We have to make sure that those people have built those kind of product. They are aware of the all the best practices out there, what are the latest trends that are going into the market, that are right now being used into the market. They should be aware of those things. And uh, this should be the most important criteria while choosing a outsourcing partner or while choosing an in-house team. If you can find such a people, no matter which way, those are going to be the right people. But let's say for example that right now we everybody knows that the cloud is going to be the right way to um, scale the product, the launch the product. It's going to be really easy for us to iterate on such a kind of a platform. So in that scenario, we don't want to go and hire a team who doesn't have experience of working with the cloud, but only have an experience with maybe some older version of that take. Maybe they have the experience of on premises infrastructure. So these kind of decisions has to be these kind of factors are going to affect the decision of whether the development partner you are looking at is a right fit or not.
Thank you for that answer. And I know from experience, you've done a great job here. A little bit going into questions about where this is going. What impact do you foresee product-led growth having on future software development and outsourcing?
So I think for B2C, PLG is already a norm. If you take a look at any B2C product, where so usually the B2C products are a low ticket size product where you have a individual using that product for either some sort of his personal or professional solving some sort of a personal or professional pain point. So in such a scenario, user acquisition cost has to be really, really low. For such a products, the marketing cost or is the PPC cost or CPM cost is already uh, really getting really, really higher. there is a lot of competition. Everybody is struggling for the prime time on the Google search or on the all the social media, popular social media network. So to keep that user acquisition cost, we cannot go and add a cost of onboarding that particular user uh, by having a demo call with him. So to do this, PLG is a norm for such a B2C product. And even going further, if you take a look at the B2B product, they are now the trend is that things are starting at the bottom level. The users who are actually going to use those application even in a B2B structure, they are trying out those products on their own. They are becoming advocates for your product, or they are becoming champions for your product, and then that feedback is given to the uh, uh, next level executives within the organization, and then that sale decision is made. So I think if you even look at all the B2B products that are coming into the market, they are already making sure that their products are ready for product led growth. And I think this is going to be the scenario. This is going to happen more and more on each B2C, B2B product. Even the enterprise product are now moving to the a PLG. They are trying to adopt PLG. They are trying to reduce the friction as much as possible. And really interesting examples of such a scenarios are, if you take a look at a enterprise version of Microsoft services such as Microsoft Office 365, they have come up with a really interesting enterprise level products where you can actually be on board on your own. They have the self service options available, and you can even get on board on such a product without without actually talking with any salesperson. So I think this is going to get this is where we are moving now. And if you take a look at incumbent in any domain, in any sector, in any B2B product vertical, you will always find that the incumbent product, or maybe three or four top products already are using PLG. So then if we are launching a product, I think this is going to be a norm from now onward, and we definitely cannot ignore it.
That I agree completely with you. And the cost savings, the speed, the customer satisfaction, those are all good indicators of why companies will adopt this. Um, so for startups getting started and really eager to get into PLG to make it a success, um, what advice do you have for them? If you were to summarize, I know we talked, you gave tons of advice already, laid out the foundation, but if you had to summarize, you know, they want to get started, they want to make this happen, what advice do you have for them?
So I think there will be a few key aspects they have to understand. One is to, first of all, as we already discussed this in one of the previous answers, that it has to, they have to find out that unique key offering, which is going to bring their users, bring their customers to their product to try that out, and that time to deliver them the value. So whatever product we are offering them, whatever pain we are claiming to solve, they should actually see it in reality. They should actually get a value out of that. So for example, if I am so Calendly is one of the good example of such a thing, that if let's say I am going to create a Calendly account, I'm going to the problem that I'm trying to solve is to go back and forth to schedule a meeting. And if I'm a salesperson, I know how painful it could be to schedule a meeting with someone. And if I'm going to use I'm going to be a user on onboarding on the Calendly, I'm going to create that link and I'm going to share it with my customers or my prospect leads. And if I get a booking or a meeting booked through that particular link, then that's a value delivered. That is the value delivered to me. I can actually see the benefit of using Calendly in real life. So this time has to be the shortest possible, and I think Calendly has done it really good. If you create a new Calendly account, if you go through their onboarding, you can see that after onboarding, they will right away ask you to create your first default booking page, and then they will, at the end of that onboarding process, they will give you a link. Which link essentially you can share it with anyone, and that person will be able to see your empty slots on your calendar, and he will be able to book a meeting. So that friction is minimum. The time to get the value if is minimum, and that user is going to actually see the value out of that product. So this is one of the key aspect of a PLG. If a startup is trying to build the product, they have to make sure that this is the scenario. The second important aspect of the PLG is going to be to find out what kind of users you are driving to your product, how those different so you basically the marketing campaigns, they have different types of ICP where they are running their campaigns, and then those campaigns are driving some sort of a particular kind of a segment of users to your product. Then they are going to get on board onto your product, so you have to analyze, or you have to understand the behavior of those users within your product. So analytics, the product, different types of product analytics are there. If your marketing sites is going to have a Google Analytics, and if once they are on board into the product, you can use something like Amplitude or Mixpanel or User Story to dig deeper into behavior of those users within your product. So you have to observe those patterns and then figure out where are the pain points, where are the friction points, and then you have to figure that out. So this is going to be the second thing that any product owner has to be careful about. And then third thing is going to be that you are going to identify a certain kind of behaviors that you see within your users. For example, certain type of ICP is for certain type of ICP, your product is really a better fit for their requirement. So then, if you see such a pattern, then you know that those users are going to be your long-term customers, and then you can ask them to be your brand ambassador. Maybe in your application you can create some sort of viral loops through which those customers, they will be able to get some benefit from themselves, and they will also help you spread the word around the market by sharing either so Dropbox did this in the early phase, that they used additional space on the Dropbox as a reward, and ask people to invite their friend, and people who actually saw some value with the product, they were happy to share that with the relevant people who they think that will get a benefit from the Dropbox. So such a kind of mechanisms could be done with the information that we are going to dig out through our analytics platforms. So I think like these are the few areas that any startup should think about whenever they are implementing a PLG.
Love it. So if you had to summarize those three in one line, what are those three areas?
So three areas. One is the onboarding process has to be smooth. We need to understand the user behavior. We need to carefully analyze what kind of which users are behaving uh, in a way that is beneficial for the growth of the product. And then the third area is going to be the creating, identifying those active users, those users who are getting the maximum value out of the product, and try and convert them into a brand ambassadors for your product.
Love it. Okay, one more question around this area. So key features, if you could list the key features that a company needs to build into their products early to be able to drive towards product-led growth, what would they be? What would be the key features that you would outline?
So usually, there are uh, features such as a, so why people go for a premium product. To so usually they go for a premium product for so usually if the product is a freemium model, usually it's the individual version or individual membership is a part of a free plan. It's either a free trial or is it going to be the lifetime free plan. Then either you can add a additional feature which will motivate them to go premium. And one of the most important feature that you could build based on your requirement is the team capabilities, the collaboration capabilities. So I think if it is an individual product, but if it is going to get better if it is used in a with your members of your team, other members of your team, or if collaboration is going to get make it better, then definitely that's going to be the feature which is going to help you onboard more users. That will maybe you can gateway it in a way to upgrade to the next level of a plan. So I think this is going to be the most important thing you can do. The another kind of premium features usually are a based on so there are two types of offering any product brings. One is the jobs to be done. So it's going to get some sort of a solve some sort of a pain for the user, either some sort of a activity that user has to perform repeatedly. It's going to solve that. And then there is a second aspect of using any kind of a product is to gain some business value out of it. So for example, let's take an example of a calendly. So with a calendly, uh, aim is to the pain is to booking a meeting, going back and forth with the customers. But the value it is delivering is that the more number of meetings I'm going to book, more number of the more revenue I'm going to generate through those meetings. So that business value I'm getting out of that. But now if I'm going to build some products, build some features to even assist me more into delivering this value, then that's going to be a that's going to uh, uh, give me a motivation to go for that premium feature. So we have to identify such a features that are auxiliary to our core pain or jobs to be done that we are solving for the user, and then those features could become a part of your premium offering. And then if you find out such a features early in the product life cycle, I think then you can have that freemium model where there is a free plan, and then these are like additional feature for which you will be your user will be motivated to upgrade.
Yeah, this has been so informative. The people listening to this and will be listening about product-led growth. This is a session that they will hear over and over again, refer to. Um, we are coming close to end here. If you had any additional advice, final thoughts for the audience, Rishikesh, what would it be? What would you tell them?
So I think PLG. So one of the most misunderstood aspect I wanted to point out before we wrap it up is that is it going to make sales teams obsolete? So it's not at all going to make sales team obsolete. It's going to empower the sales team by identifying right audience within your user group. So it will so you are your users are going to need assist to become a premium user. So without an help from a sales SDR who is aware about all these mechanisms of PLG, it's going to be difficult for users to move from one level to another level. So many times what I have seen is that the product there are users they are using that product in a single user mode, and they are completely unaware that there are multi user capabilities or a team capabilities. So in such a scenarios, I think sales team can run a creative campaign. They can go through the product usage, the product behavior data, and they can create some sort of campaigns either through the emails or other sort of nudges. They can send push notification. They can send to the users, through which either they will let them know about other features that are available with the product, or they can prompt them to get most value out of that product. So I think this is a most important uh, aspect of PLG that needs to be considered, that sales teams need to identify a product qualified lead or account qualified lead that will move from a either a free user or a um, uh, we can say it as a less active user, and to make sure that he is becoming a he is getting most value out of that product, and eventually he is becoming a premium user.
Well, Rishikesh, that's very valuable. Man, I wish we could spend all day here. Invaluable amount of knowledge you shared. If there are people listening to this, we'll be listening to it. Um, Coditude, Rishikesh, great resource to reach out to. We'll be putting more information on them on the Chief Technology Officer Summit webpage, also including that in our diverse magazines. But Rishikesh, thank you so much for your insights, for joining us today. Thank you for those participating, for those tuning in now, for those tuning in later. We hope you can listen to this many times, get a lot of feedback from it. Reach out to Rishikesh for more information, and good luck on your journey to product-led growth. So Rishikesh, thank you.
Thanks, Stephen, for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to talk about my favorite topic. It was really interesting to share our experience, and we are. I'm really hopeful that this will help the listeners right now who are listening, and even in the future. So, thanks again for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome, and thanks everyone. We'll sign out.